Hi everybody, my name is Sandy Ortega and I've been asked by a couple of people to do a quick tutorial on how to make the surgical mask for the regular population, non-emergent medical personnel to wear on a day-to-day basis. So I'm going to show you real quickly how to cut out the patterns and how to put it together. All right, so the first thing that I want to do is I want to set up my material. So what I'll do is I will cut out or to outline the pattern. This is the pattern that I am using, and I will put it onto the lining. You can get a total of 4 masks per quarter yard of material. So for half a yard of material, you can get a total of 8, which is what you need to make 4 masks. Each mask requires 4 pieces of interfacing. So you want to do the same thing with the material. I've already cut out enough material to do 25 masks. So you've got a front and a back. So you need 2 of each. That's 4 pieces of material. And for each piece of material, you're going to need an interfacing. So you'll need 4 interfacings and 4 pieces of material. You're going to also need 2 12-inch pieces of elastic or ties, or anything that you want to use. You can use ribbon, you can use tie, you can use elastic, you can even use the material from the mask to tie back the masks. You're also going to need a piece of pipe cleaning. So the pipe cleaners come in 12 inches. You're going to fold it and cut it in half for a 6-inch. You're going to twirl it around and join it to form a little circle. And then you're going to turn that circle and create a little bow. And I'll show you how to do that just before I put it in. So we're going to take our material. You're going to put together 2 pieces of interfacing per 2 pieces of material. You're going to put the right sides together. Let me see. I can only do this with one hand. And we're not going to be able to do that. But anyways, you're going to put 4 pieces of material, 2 on the and join them together. So 2 pieces of lining and 2 pieces of material. You're going to join the right sides of the material together. And now we're going to sew. So let's go on over here to the machine. And we will put you right there so that you can see what I'm doing. And we'll go step by step. Okay? So we've already have our material. We have, again, they're facing right sides together with the lining on the outside. We're going to sew a 1/4 of an inch on the seam, on the outer seam, to join these 2 pieces together. If you choose to pin your material, you want to make sure that you do it within the 1/4 inch, because you do not want to put any puncture holes on the mask itself. That will defeat the purpose. Okay, we want to make them as safe as possible. So I'm going to take out my pin. I'm going to start at the bottom and sew all the way up, 1/4 of an inch. Oops. And back tack. Okay, and back tack again. So now we have our materials together. All right, we have our right sides together, and we have our 1/4 inch seam. We're going to turn that in and manually press it. You can press it on the iron, but I like to just manually press it. And now I'm going to sew a seam along the outside of the material with the stitching in the direction of where I'm sewing, so that I can tack down. The goal is to tack down this material here. Before I do that, I'm going to cut out little notches. As you can see, you can either do a V-notch or you can just do a little clip of the material. When you cut the material, be careful not to cut the stitching, because then your mask will fall apart. But the purpose of this is so that when you turn your mask inside out, it's able to lay flat, because there's enough room for the material to lay flat. So we're going to take the material, open it up, just as soon as I can get it open. All right, and I'm going to push the seam away from the inside of the machine, and I'm going to sew right down the middle. Okay, we're going to sew right down the middle of the machine. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, and as I go along, I'm going to be pressing the material down so that, and pushing it over with my thumb so that it all lays nice and flat. Push it over with your thumb. Perfect. All right, so now you've got a nice clean seam and the material is nice and flat. Okay, so that's what the inside of your seam will look like. It's all laying flat. You're going to do that with both of the materials, the inside and the outside. When you've done that, after you've done that you've got your seams nice and done, you're going to pin your material at the top. Okay, let me move you over here so you can see it. I don't want my camera to fall apart. Pin your materials at the top with the stitching going this way and the inside stitching going to the other way. You want them in opposite directions because you've got a lot of material here. Remember, you've got 4 pieces of material and 4 pieces of lining, okay? And when you fold it in half, that makes it 8 pieces of material and 8 pieces of lining. So you want to be able to just pin it a little bit on the outside, and you're going to sew all the way around your material, okay? I'm going to start on the corner here. I'm pin it all the way around. I'm going to fold this down so that I see what I'm doing. When I get to the top here, as soon as I take out my pin, get my pin out of there so I don't break my needle. You're going to go really gently, okay, because you've got a lot of material there. You don't want to break a needle, okay? And you're going to go over a little bit and then make sure that all of your material is nice and flat. The flatter, the better. Okay. I'm going to go down in here, take out your pin. You don't want to go over your pin with your needle. Okay. When you get to the corner here, you're going to bend it, go over, and you're only going to sew about 1 inch. You're going to skip 2 inches and start sewing again at the other end. And that's going to create a pocket for you to turn your mask over. So sew 1 inch, lift your presser foot, move up about 2 inches, and start sewing again, okay? Again, you want to be careful here because you have a lot of excess material. Okay, go in, straighten out your mask, make sure everything is nice and flat. All the way down, remove your pin. Always remember to remove your pins. And you are done. Back stitch. Awesome. Okay, now you want to also go through this and you want to clip out your areas. Any area that's going to bend, you want to either clip or you want to do a little triangle snippet. It's really up to you. It's your choice, however you want to do it, okay? After you've done that, you're going to put your piping. So if you remember, we have a 12-inch piping. You're going to cut it in half. You're going to bring it around and join these edges. So basically what I do is I just fold it one way and then fold it the other way, all right? So that it forms a little circle. And then I'm going to bring it down and I'm going to tie it. By tying it, you're hiding pretty much the ends so that it doesn't break through the material. So now you've got a little bow. I like to close out my little bow and I'm going to put it right on the outside of the seam. So right in my seam allowance area, that's where I'm going to stitch this. I'm going to zigzag it. Turn on my zigzag. And you want to go slow when you zigzag because you're zigzagging on top of wire. And if you catch the wire in the right place, it's going to snap your needle. So you don't want to snap your needle. Okay? Perfect. All right. And there is your pipe cleaner. All right. It's okay if it goes in just a little bit past your line because when you turn it over, it'll fold over nicely. But you want to try and keep it in that 1/4-inch seam allowance. So now you want to turn your mask inside out. You want to stick your finger inside the mask and make sure that you have the materials facing each other. If you go in through the lining and you've got lining and material, you know you've missed the center. So you want to make sure that you've got middle, and that you've got the materials facing each other. What I like to do is I like to pop out the material, grab it and pop it out, and that makes it a lot easier to turn it inside out. When you go in, you want to use your index finger to bring the corners in. Make sure that they're nice and tight and bring them in. And then you bring it right out through your 2-inch or 3-inch seam, however big you make it. It doesn't matter how big or small well, it matters how small you make it, but it doesn't matter how big you make it because you're going to sew it up in the end, okay? So this is the part that I hate the most, the turning of the mask. Okay, when you turn the mask, again, you want to use your finger to make sure that those corners are nice and even. All right, and there is your turned mask. You want to pinch the nose area and the bottom area and just flatten it out really nice. Now you can take this and you can iron it, press it really nice, or you can just, if you're comfortable with it, just straighten it all out. You want to take a needle to bring the little corners out. Right, a needle or a safety pin. Safety pin is better. And just bring those corners out and make them out. For the purpose of this presentation, I've already ironed it so it looks really nice and clean. It's nice and smooth, and then you've got your opening here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew all the way around. When I get to the nose piece, I'm going to go in about a 1/4 inch because there's a pipe cleaner right there, and you don't want to break a needle. So we're going to start sewing. Oops, bring that up. Remember to take off your zigzag stitch. Again, fold this over so I can see what I'm doing. We're going to go around. And so right here is where you're going to start to see that your pipe cleaner is right there. So you're going to push it up as far as you can. Okay, and then you're going to sew around it so that you don't break your needle. I'm going to sew here. Go around. Sew all the way around. Again, you want to be careful because you've got multiple stitches there. And when you get to the corner here, you want to make sure that your material is nicely folded, that it's enough in so that when you sew, you're going to grab both pieces of material to close up that seam. Perfect. And there you go. We're going to cut away this thread. And there's your mask. It looks great. Make sure everything is nice and even. So now what we're going to do is we're going to fold in about a 1/2 inch on both sides, and that's going to be the casing for your elastic. So fold it in, double stitch. All right, get rid of that. Do the other side, again, about 1/2 inch. And there you go. Perfect. All right, there you go. All right, so now what you want to do is you want to feed your elastic through the casing. I've got a cute little elastic feeder right here. I'm not sure what this is called, but I know that it's good to feed the elastic. You're going to feed it through. You're going to take the elastic and you're going to put it in about 1/2 inch, about an inch or so, not too much. And then you're just going to pull it through and it'll feed your elastic right through it. Okay, so let's do this side. Got your elastic. Again, remember, you want to cut your elastic at 12 inches, and it's going to require 12 inches. You're going to take your ends, join them together, and you're going to tie a knot. Now, you want to tie the knot loosely so that when the person gets it, they can adjust the knot for themselves. Or if you know who it's going to be for, then you can tie the knot nice and tight. And then what you're going to do is you're going to feed the elastic through the opening. Doesn't always work on the first try, but you want to pull through it. All right. And it'll end up hiding the elastic. There you go. All right. So there you go. You now have your completed mask. All right. And there are your masks. All right. Okay. So if you have any questions or if you have any suggestions, or just send me some pictures of the mask that you do. All right. Take care and be safe.